Hello everyone. Welcome to our performance management question practice session. The purpose of today's video is to help you with your exam preparation. As you know, practicing question is the key to achieving outstanding marks. Hence, I have brought you one question from performance measurement and control syllabus area, which I think solving will clear your doubts. I'm Amit Saha, Director and Performance Management Course Instructor at 8 Base Professionals. So let's start. Today we are going to look at the question, the one-stop car company, which is OSCO. This question came in September and December hybrid paper. So this was set from the syllabus area, which is part D, performance measurement. So we'll see how we should approach a CR question, especially if this question is from part D. So first thing first, when you get a question, you should read the requirement first. So the one-stop car company is my question name. So I will straight go down below to the requirements. Okay, so the first requirement is for each of the dimensions of the building block model, calculate the performance indicators for MSc and one for the OSC average using the data available. That means they have provided me some data I can see here. Okay, so we need to calculate one performance indicators for MSc and obviously for OSC average. Using the data available, fine. Briefly justify your choice of performance indicators and discuss MSc's performance relative to other OSC service centers. Okay, now this is a 16 marks requirement, and for a 16 marks requirement, you need a very thorough thought. Okay, and you have a word processing tool to answer these questions. Okay, so first thing, you need to understand the requirement very carefully. Now, let me help you how we can break down the requirements. All right. So here we have the requirements. So the first part of the requirements was like, for each of the dimensions of the building block model. All right. So when it says for each of the dimension of the building block model, that means you need to structure your answer using building block model. And obviously for each of the dimensions, you need to use the headings. Okay. So if you use the headings, the answer layout will be clear to the examiner. He or she can see the exact headings that you are writing, and it will be easier to mark. So first thing first, as the question specifically says, for each of the dimensions of the building block model, we will use the building block model to lay out our answer, and then we will use the heading. And obviously, we will structure the answer in a way which is easier for the marker to mark. Okay. Now, the next bit of the requirement is the calculate one performance indicators for MSc and one for the OSC average using the data available. Fine. So that means we have to calculate one suitable performance indicators using the data provided in the question for each dimension. That means for 6 dimensions, we have 6 dimensions in building block model. So we'll get each performance indicators for each one. Okay, so 6 different performance indicators. All right, and we have to calculate it for both MSc and OSC average. Okay, now here we have the next part. Briefly justify your choice of performance indicators. Now, sometimes the candidate miss this bit of requirement, which says we have to justify why you chose that measures. For example, for financial measurement, you can choose like sales growth or gross profit margin. So we have to justify why you have chosen that performance indicators. All right. And the last part is discuss MSc's performance relative to other OSC service center. That means for each of the dimension, as per your chosen performance indicators, discuss whether the performance of MSc is good or bad in comparison with OSC average. And obviously, you must try to back your discussion with relevant information from the scenario. So we have a very big requirement here. I think we have 3 or 4 parts. Let's jot down. So proper answer layout should be for each of the dimensions, you need to mention one performance indicators. and then you need to calculate that performance indicators for MSC and OSC average. And third, you need to justify your selection of that particular performance indicators. And lastly, you have to discuss the performance. So these four elements should be done under each dimensions, and you need to repeat the layout for the other one. All right. So a properly structured answer should actually explain these four parts under each requirement. Okay. So I think every one of you has got the requirement. So let's move on to the question itself. Now, the thing is, when you are reading the questions, make sure you read very actively, because each of the scenario will help you to construct your answers. Now, let me show you what should you highlight, what should you remember, what figures or what statements will be important for your answer. So the one-stop car company, the OSCO, offers a range of services for car owners at its 55 service centers across the country. That's very good. So we can highlight the 55 service centers. 55 service centers. So we can highlight it. And one-stop car company has its operation across the country. So very good. So I can highlight the country just to remember it. Okay. Now, the car maintenance business is extremely competitive in all regions across the country. So here, extremely competitive is my keyword. Okay. Each service center operates autonomously. Yeah, fine, autonomously. This is also another keyword. That means the service centers are decentralized. They can make their own decisions. Okay, as it says, and the managers are able to choose how to package up their the services they offer. Fine. OSC company's aim is to make the task of car maintenance a pleasure, not a chore. That means the objective of MSC company is to make the car maintenance job a very pleasant and nice one for the customers. All right. So this is my objective. So you can highlight it because it's the aim of the company. All right. So what have you got from the first paragraph? 55 service center across the country, extremely competitive market. The centers can make their own decisions and their objective. Okay, very good. Now, in the second bit, its national website states the following: range of service packs available, including express service and full valet. We worked whilst you wait service with average wait time for only 2 hours. Okay, fine. Here we have one promise, I would say, because as the national website is saying, they only take 2 hours to complete one service. Okay. But our friendly, experienced mechanics producing high quality work. So again, we are saying friendly and experienced mechanics. These are our staff. So our staffs are friendly and experienced, and we produce high quality work. So we can also highlight this part. Freshly made tea and coffee and free internet in our comfortable lounges. Okay, that means we offer the customers to have fresh tea and coffee while they are waiting for their services at our lounges, and monthly free price drop for all customers completing an online feedback form. Okay. Now, customers initially access the national website, but depending on their location, they are automatically redirected to the website of the nearest service center so that they can view the offers available at the center. All bookings are made through the OSC's website. So this could be another piece of information that you might be interested or that might be needed somewhere. I don't know. Let's see. So results for one of the service centers, the Midland Service Center or MSC, for the year which has just ended are given below. The column headed OSC shows the average figures for all OSC companies' 55 service centers. All right, so here we have the financial data. See, we have the sales revenue, we have the gross profit, number of mechanics, senior, number of mechanics, junior, number of service packs develops, number of website hits. So we have all of the data, some financials data and obviously some non-financials data. So we have also the customers feedback form showing a score of 9 or 10. Okay, so now we have the MSC's information and we have the OSC's average data. So let's look at the notes. So in note number 1, which is number of mechanics senior, fine. So mechanics are classified as senior if they have been qualified for more than 5 years. That means the senior staffs, mechanics who are working here are actually very experienced. All right. Now in note number 2, number of mechanics junior. So junior mechanics includes both trainee mechanics who are unqualified and mechanics who have been qualified for less than 5 years. All right, so 5 years is their benchmark. So if the mechanics have 5 years or more experience, they are senior mechanics, and if they don't, then they are junior mechanics. Fine. Number of new service packs developed. Okay, the MSc introduced 3 new service packs during the year. So one is free wallets for orders over 500. Okay, that means we have a very big promotional offer here. So they are providing free wallets for the customers who are ordering $100 or more. A safety check costing only 20 instead of the usual 40. Wow. Okay, so we have here we have a discount offered by MSc here. So we are offering at 20, whereas the regular price is 40. So why I'm highlighting this information? Because it might help to boost the sales. So when you will be identifying the performance, these informations could help you to support your answer. All right. And then we have a 10 air conditioning efficiency check, which usually costs 20. Again, the same thing. So we are offering 50% discounts here for all customers booking an oil change. Okay, so these are the packs that they have designed newly. So we'll see how these packs have attracted new customers. So see, these 3 new service packs produced revenues of 66,000, 58,000 and 54,000 respectively. 2 comparable new service packs developed by other center produced revenues of 44,000 and 42,000. Well, fine, we have a very big differences here. So definitely MSC's companies' new services are more popular than other service centers. So in note number 4, we have the online feedback form. Ask customers to rate the centers from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. So here we have given the information for the customers' feedback. That's very good. And in the last part, the CEO of OSC company has recently attended a business seminar and heard about Fitzgerald and Moon's building block model of performance management. The CEO is interested in how the dimensions block could be applied at OSC company. The dimensions of performance identified in the model are competitiveness, financial performance, quality of service, flexibility, resource utilization, and innovation. Okay, fine. So these are my highlighted areas. So now based on this data provided in the table and the scenario and the context, we need to answer the question. Okay, so again, let's move on to the answer layout that we have produced earlier. So what will you do? You will have to find out a suitable performance indicators for each dimension. Then you have to calculate the performance. You have to justify why you have chosen that performance indicators, and obviously discussion. This is very simple. So indicator, calculation, justification, discussion. So you should do it again and again for the rest of the dimensions. Okay, fine. So this is my question. Excuse me. So let's look at the building block model first, very quickly, obviously, to have an understanding of the building block model. So first of all, I'm pretty much sure that you have already read the building block model. So let's have a look. Fitzgerald and Moon building block model is used to improve the performance measurement system in a service industry. And it suggests that the performance measurement system should be based on 3 building blocks, which is dimensions, standards, and rewards. All right. Now we have 6 dimensions here. The first 2 is called downstream dimensions, which are the results of the past activities of the company, and the other 4, which is quality of service, flexibility, resource utilization, and innovation, is called the upstream dimensions, which defines how the company will perform in the future. So first thing, what is a dimension? Now dimensions, when you are thinking about dimensions, you should think about critical success factors. So dimensions are the key areas of the business whose high performance or success is important as they decide the success of an organization. Because these dimensions, these are the key areas, and if you can if you can be successful in those key areas, ultimately your business will be successful. So that means for each of the dimensions of the company's goal, so you have to set the goal, you have to set the critical success factor, and you have to measure all those success factors under or for each of the dimensions. So very easy thing. So when you are talking about or you are thinking about dimensions, you should think of critical success factors. All right. Now, second, we have standards, another block, which is standards. Now, standards are the tools to measure the dimensions. For example, we have the first one, competitiveness. Okay, so that means a company should be competitive in the market in order to be successful or in order to grow themselves in the market. So how do you measure competitiveness? So that is standard. So in order to measure any dimensions, you need the standards. Now, as Fitzgerald and Moon building block model, the standards should be achievable. The people who are accepting the standard should work for it, and definitely the standard should be fair. So first of all, ownership means the people or the managers, they are accepting the standards. Now this can be achieved by participation. You can participate in the employee should be allowed to participate in the target setting process, and if they can participate, it's more likely that they'll be motivated to actually take that challenges. All right, achievability means the target should be challenging but obviously achievable, because if the targets are standards are very difficult to achieve, then they might be demotivated. And fairness means all managers have equal challenging standards. Okay, so standards, when we are talking about standards, that means you should think of the key performance indicators. So very simple, dimensions, CSF, and standards, KPI. Okay. The last thing, we have the rewards. So rewards are the motivation for the employees. Remember, what gets measured gets done, what gets measured and feedback gets done well, and what gets rewarded gets repeated. That means if you reward your employees for their good work, they will do that work again and again. Okay, so that's the whole point. So you have to reward your employee. So reward works as an incentive to work harder. So now rewards should be clear. That means the employee or the manager should be clear about the reward system. For example, how it works. The reward should be motivational, because if the reward is not that much motivational, they might not give that dive to achieve the reward. And obviously controllability is very, very important, because the targets upon which rewards have been set are controllable by the actions of the manager, which means we need to judge our managers or employee for the controllable elements only. Okay, uncontrollable elements should not be there. Okay. Now that means the Fitzgerald and Moon building block model, it has 3 blocks. As I said, dimensions, these are the key areas that need to be managed very well. And how to manage those key areas, because you need to set standards, performance indicators. So that's why you have a standards block. And to motivate the employee, we need to give them rewards if they do well. So this is very simple model, but this is very, very handy or very, very useful for the service sectors. Now here we have some examples of standards. Okay, for example, competitiveness can be measured by relative market share or customers feedback or sales growth. Financial performance can be measured by profitability, liquidity, and other ratios that we have. Quality of services can be measured by product reliability, responsiveness, competence, flexibility, like it can be measured by delivery time, or it could be volume flexibility. Resource utilization can be defined by productivity or efficiency of the employees. And innovation, obviously the new product number, ability to innovate, and performance of the innovations. For example, sales generated from a new product. Okay, so these are the examples of standards, but you don't need to memorize those standards. You have to find out the suitable standards based on the information provided. We are going to look at this in the questions context soon. So if you need to have the advantages of look at the advantages of building block model, you can pause the video and just have a look. Okay, now I think we have a basic idea of the building block model, and now gets back to the question and see how we can apply the model to the question context. All right, so again, we have the requirements here. So we have already jotted down what we need to do. So here we have one example. See the financial performance. For example, the KPI should be the gross profit margin, the calculation, the justification, the comparison, and the reasons. So that's how we should develop our answers. Okay. And now what I'm doing, I'm just giving you an idea how you can construct the answer. But before that, I need the table here. So let's have a look at the table. Now, what information do I have here? So first thing is my competitiveness. All right. Now ask you a question. How do you measure competitiveness? How do you measure competitiveness? Okay. So in this table, we have sales revenue, gross profit, number of mechanics senior, junior, okay, number of new service pack develops, number of website hits, or other information. Now, we need to find the suitable performance indicators for this question, and to be very specifically within the information that's have been provided. All right. So within the context, how can we measure the competitiveness? So I have chosen the indicators like, the website hit to order conversion ratio, because see here we are given the number of website hits, which is 14,000 for MSc and 18,260 on average for OSC, and we have the number of jobs booked and completed. So website hit to job completion ratio or job conversion ratio can be a perfect measures for competitiveness. Why? Because when the customers are visiting my website, if they see my price or my quality or my service competitive, that means they will place the order. So website hit to order conversion ratio can be a very good measurement for competitiveness. So the first thing, we need to make the heading. So competitiveness, it should be our heading. All right, and then we will state the indicator. So our chosen indicator here is website hit to order conversion ratio. And next thing we need to do, we need to calculate the indicator for both MSc and OSC average. So how should we calculate it? See, so number of website is 40,000. So number of website hit to job completion ratio, so 9506 divided by 14,000, and obviously 11,870 divided by 18,260, and that's how we'll get the results. Okay, and then remember, we need to justify. So that means this ratio indicates whether MSC's services are attractive to the customers compared to its competitor, which is very important for MSC's survival in the highly competitive market. Okay, so why did I mention the highly competitive market? Because remember the question context. In the questions, in the first paragraph, it already gave us that information that this market is extremely competitive. See, so as this market is extremely competitive, that means competitiveness should be the key to success. So that is why I have mentioned here to be successful in this market, in this highly competitive market, the MSc should be competitive. All right. So now results. Okay. Now we can see that MSc has a higher percentage of order conversion, right? So 67.9% compared to the average, which is 65%. That means MSc has done better. All right, MSc has done better. So the thing is, at this point, we sometimes lack the support, because from this ratio calculation, the examiners can clearly see that MSc is doing better, but that's not he's looking for. He's looking for the reasons why. Because remember, if you cannot give the reasons, that means you are not properly evaluating the performance. So you have to state why they have done better, What did they do? What factors contributed to this results? Okay, so see, first thing you have to state in 1 or 2 lines what happened. So here I have written MSC has achieved 67.9% website hit to order conversion ratio, which was 2.9% higher than the average conversion rate achieved by website other service centers. Very good. All right, so I have just stated it. Okay, what happened? And again, hence MSC holds a better position in the market in terms of competitiveness. That's very good. So we can clearly see this bit of information from the ratio calculated here. Now what we need to do, we need to support our answers, support our statement with information from the context. Okay, now here we sometimes struggle because what could be the reasons? What could be the reasons? Now think logically. How do you find something very competitive? It could be due to the lower price point, or it could be due to the higher quality provided. It could be due to the flexibility of that particular service, or it could be due to the uniqueness. Okay, so again, so this could be the possible reason. So you need to state 1 or 2 reasons, and it's completely fine. Just give me something, give the examiner something that you have thought of. So don't hesitate to state anything from out of the context or even from the context. And if you're not sure of something, you can write it might be, it could be due to. Okay, but please again do give some reasons. Okay, so now here we have price, quality, flexibility, uniqueness. Now we have quality measurement as separate dimensions. So we can see whether in quality metrics MSC has done well or not, and then we can we can relate this information here. We have flexibility, and if it did well in flexibility section, that we can just relate it here. Or we have uniqueness. All right, so if you're not sure what to write, you can just leave this segment empty and you can complete the others, and then we can see whether we can relate it or not. Okay, so I'm leaving a space here so that I can get back to this segment later on, because we have another dimensions, and I believe the other dimensions could be related with the competitiveness, or can contribute to the competitiveness. Okay. Now the second performance dimension that we have is financial performance. Now again, let's move on to the question. So we have the only performance financial performance indicators here is the gross profit. So that means there is no choice, but we have to use the gross profit margin. Now obviously gross profit margin is a very good financial performance indicators, because it shows how efficiently a firm or a company is managing cost relative to its sales. Okay, so I've given the heading first, then I have stated the KPI, and then I have calculated the KPI, and obviously I gave the justification. So what is the justification? Gross profit margin has been chosen as a performance indicators, as it shows how costs are managed related to selling price. The higher the profit margin, the more efficient a company is in managing cost. Okay, very simple. Just make it simple. Just state 1 or 2 lines why you have chosen that particular indicators. Okay, now from the results we can see that we have MSC has achieved 40% gross margin and OSC has achieved 36.9. That means just almost 3% higher than the other service centers. That means obviously this is very, very good. MSC was able to manage cost in a better way. Now we have to state it. So just state it. MSC's gross profit margin is almost 3% point higher than average, and then you need to back your answers. Now when you find out the reasons why that happened, you can just look at the table. Okay, so first thing first, you need to find out some possible reasons. So what could be the possible reasons? Gross profit margin can be higher if the sales price is high, for example, if the cost is low, or if we have better efficiency, for example. That means we have taken less time to serve the customers, and hence our profitability is better. So this could be the possible reasons: higher sales, low cost, and better efficiency. Okay, now let's see if we can find out any of the information from the question context to support our answers. So see, here we have sales revenue, all right, which is 760,500 for MSC and 890,365 for OSC average. And we have the number of jobs, books, and completed. Now from this information, we can calculate the average selling price per job. Okay, now let's give it a try. So if we see the average selling price per job is higher in MSc, that could be the reasons for their high profit margin. So if we just calculate the relative selling price per job, we can see MSc's price per job is 80, whereas the OSC average price per job is 75, which is $5 more. That means MSc is charging more. So obviously there's a very good reasons for the higher gross profit margin, because for the same services or similar type of services, we are charging more to our customers. So we have got one of our possible reasons. Okay, and another point you can say, if you remember note number 4, note number 3, I guess. Okay, so we did better in terms of sales generation from new products. So see, 66,000, 58,000, 54,000 respectively. So we have developed 3 new products, and we were able to generate more sales. So it will be note 3. All right, so just state this. Besides, MSCs did relatively well in new service pack sales. All right, so that means what? We have charged more to our customers. All right, and we have done better in terms of generating sales from new products. So our total sales was higher, and that is why our gross profit percentage went up. All right, now in terms of low cost, you can say something obviously, because here we can see our senior staff number is comparatively low than the average. So that means our staff cost is obviously a bit lower. Again, our junior staff number is also a bit low compared to the average. So you can just state it if you wish to, but we have already found out 2 good reasons for this, so I didn't bother to include it, but if you wish, then you can also include. Okay, so see, that's how you should answer your question. Okay, don't just say that MSc is doing good, OSC is not doing good. You have to find out the reasons why. Okay, and if needed, you can do other calculations. For example, that's what we did here, the relative selling price from the scenario, from the question. So that's how you should attempt your part D questions. Okay, so that is why let's jot down some points. So for financial competitiveness, I have already written the answer. For financial performance, I have already written the answer. For other dimensions, let's just give you some ideas how you can select the key performance indicators, or how you can select the reasons. So for quality of services, our percentage of jobs from repeat customers could be a good measures. Why? Because if the customers are happy with our service, if the customers are happy with our quality, that means they will come back again and again for services. So that means if we calculate the percentage of jobs from repeat customers, it will indicate our quality of services. Okay, so that's why, let's see the reasons. The point why I chose this measurement is like this one. If customers are not satisfied with the service quality, they will not return. As simple as that. Now from the calculation, we can see our return, our jobs or percentage of jobs from repeat customer is obviously higher than OSC average. All right, so we have to state this, and again you have to mention any reasons for that. So the possible reason could be, if you look at the senior mechanics to junior mechanics ratio, you can see we have a slightly better bargain here. Okay, so for 7 senior mechanics, we have 5 junior mechanics. So there are comparatively more hand to support the staffs, senior staffs, and that is why they can produce the better results. See, you are not sure, you don't need to be 100% sure of that. If you can just link something, just give them any reason. So this might be due to, use the might word, that could be. Okay, so senior mechanics to junior mechanics ratio is better. All right, so just state it. So this could be reasons of this better performance, and it's completely fine. All right, so quality of services, and then flexibility. Flexibility, to measure the flexibility, what we can use here, Total number of time spent and total number of jobs. Yes, so we can use time taken per job. That means how flexible we are. Remember one point from the scenario, its national website says the average time is only 2 hours. So they have already set a benchmark for their services. So you can bear in mind as well. So let's do calculate the hour. So that means see from the calculation, the MSC's average time per service is 2.43 hours and OSC average 2.09 hours. Okay, fine. So now here in this part, MSC's performance is not that good. Okay, because it is taking more time. All right. So fine, not good, no issues. Now let me tell you the justification why I chose the time taken per job. Because less average time means customers can wait and get things done and need not to hire rental car for the day. Because if it needs more hours to fix their cars, that means they will have to hire a rent a car, or they have to hire a car to get their things done. So if they can do their work within a short period of time, so they can just wait and they can get their things done and they can go to their job. Okay, that means this ratio is a very good indicators how flexible we are to our customers. Okay, now the thing is why it's not good. So you have to state the reasons. So in my point of view, from the information we can say the ratio, the average number of senior mechanics is 7 for MSc and OSC average is 7.8. That means we have slightly lower number of senior mechanics here. Okay, so that means in terms of numbers, okay, in terms of experience numbers, we are a bit behind than other service centers. So they have 7.8 senior mechanics and we have 7. So this could be a reason because we don't have that much experience stuff. So that is why maybe the time taken per job could be higher. Other possible reasons could be that they might perform more thorough jobs than other. That means the job we are performing. Remember, see the new packs, we have several items packed together. So maybe we are doing more thorough jobs, or and that is why we are taking more time. Or maybe still we lack efficiency for the newly developed packages. Okay, so these are the possible reasons that you can state for this reason. Now, another very important point, as we are saying that the performance of OSC is not good in terms of flexibility. Now you need to state how it is impacting the business. See, when something is good, that means we are doing good. When something is bad, that means we are doing bad. But how these things is actually impacting our whole operation. So see, so just read this point. How did it impact the business? Remember, MSc has the higher percent of jobs from repeat customers. Okay, and the customer feedback is also good. See, that means though our average time taken to complete a job is slightly higher, but the customer is not seeing is as too negative. They are still happy with our services because though we are taking more time, but maybe we are giving quality work. That could be one reason. All right, so that's why they are coming back to us. That means though we are taking more time per job, but still we have the higher number of customer return. Okay, so maybe the quality is a factor. Okay, or maybe our customer behavior is our customer service is very good, or the behavior of the staff is very good. So that is why customers are not bothered with the slightly increased amount of time that we are taking. So just state the things that though it is bad, but still it has a very negligible impact, because still we have a very good number of repeat customers, and obviously our performance is good. So this is very bad, because 2.43 hours, that means as we promised, we couldn't finish it within 2 hours. So this is very bad. On an average, the other centers are taking 2.09 hours. So still our performance, there is a room for improvement. But at the same time, maybe our quality is very good, maybe our behavior is good. So that is why maybe customers are not that much bothered. Okay, so next is resource utilization. So again, when it comes to resource utilization, you need to find out the resources. So the resources are the employees. Resources could be the machine time. Resources could be other resources. But here we have given the number of employees, senior mechanics, junior mechanics. We have 12 employees in total, 7 plus 5. So we can just calculate the revenue per mechanic. So it's a very good indicator how much revenue we are generating per employee. Okay, so first of all, state the KPI, calculate the results, then state the reason of choosing that KPI, and then the performance. So obviously we can see the MSc performance is not that good, so obviously not good. But what could be the reason? Again, as I said, the less experienced stuff in terms of numbers. And another point is very important, our time taken per job is higher. Okay, so as the time taken per job is higher, that means we are generating less revenue per mechanic. Again, see, our gross profit margin is higher, so that is also not that much of a problem. Okay, so still, though we are taking more time to complete a job, but still we are charging more. So that is why our gross profit margin is higher. So it's fine, but still there is room for improvement. The performance is not good compared to others, but still it's not that bad. Okay, so the last one is innovation. I think it's very apparent from the question, because we have developed 3 packages whereas others could develop only 2 packages, and our cumulative sales from the 3 new packs are way higher than the other centers. Okay, just we can just state it and calculate the ratio. So what would be the KPI? The percentage of revenue generation from new service packs. So we have generated 23.4% of revenue from newly developed packs, and other centers could only achieve 9.66%. That is impressive results. That means West is way much innovative than other service centers. Okay, so you have to mention why innovation is important, because it's very important for competitive market. You need to innovate your services, you need to innovate your processes, you need to innovate your the process of doing the work. So innovation should be there. Okay, so this is obviously an impressive achievement. All right, so these are the thing that we need to write, obviously a lot, but if you can just remember the layout, which is this one, that's you are very good to go. So heading, performance indicators, calculation, justification, discussion. That's pretty fine. Okay, now remember we left some space here for competitiveness. That means price, no, because we are charging more. So that means in terms of price, we are not competitive. But we are competitive in terms of quality, yes, because we have the most percentage of numbers coming back. We don't have competitors in terms of flexibility. No, I don't say that, because we are not that much flexible, because we are taking more time to complete our jobs. But yes, uniqueness. So that means these 2 reasons should be stated here. So number 1, we are providing best value to the customers, considering the uniqueness of our product and services, and considering the quality. So that made MSc competitive in the market. So that's what it requires you to write. So again, read the requirement very carefully. That should be your prime thing to do, because for a 16 marks requirement, 16 marks questions, you need to have a careful thoughts, because how you represent your answers will ultimately matters. Because if you miss out any points, that means you will be losing marks. Okay, and then obviously read the questions very carefully and actively, so that you can grab some situation from the questions. Then you should highlight the key points that you need to know. So don't highlight too much, just highlight the key points, so that you can have things visible to your eyes, so that you can just quickly get back to the gist point. And obviously that's all for this question. Okay, so I think that helped you. So remember, the layout is very important, the requirement is very important. So I think if you read the requirement in this way, if you read the question in this way, and if you can think how to answer the question, then you can obviously do better. So that's all for the question. So that's all for today. I hope now you understand how to tackle the performance measurement questions in the exam. So keep in touch for more updates, and I wish you good luck for your upcoming exams. Thank you.